Hello and welcome back to Mr. Powers Teaches Algebra 2. Algebra? Good to see you guys. So always have this issue like why Algebra 2, Algebra 2 is just more algebra. Anyway, here we go. Let's do some examples today of just some problems where we're given the equation and is it a function? Can we tell if it's a function? And it's as easy as using the definition of a function. But here I have in front of us a more specific definition, maybe a sub-definition for us that we can use when we're talking about equations in x and y, and we're on the Cartesian plane. All right? So instead of a relation for which every element in the domain is matched with one element in the range, we have a function is an equation for which any x can be plugged into the equation, for which any x can be plugged into the equation, will yield exactly one y out of the equation. So for which our function is defined, so all those x values, whichever ones we pick, they only go to one y, only possibly one y. So I'm going to do a couple things. So let's look at a couple examples. And then now I'll split it up. But anyway, let's look at a couple examples. So the first example is going to be 5x plus 1, y equals 5x plus 1. And so what we can do is like say, okay, is that a function? Yes or no? Just pick some values for x. So let's say x equals 0. If x equals 0, that means y equals 5 times 0 plus 1. Hold on a second. Perfect timing. Okay. And so what does that mean? That means y is going to equal 5 times 0, 0, y is 1. And so there's only one y when you plug in 0 that we can get. All right, let's plug in another one. Let's just try another one real quick. How about x equals 1? What do we get? We get y equals 5 times 1 plus 1. Well, that's 6. Again, we get 1y. And we do this a couple times. It's easy to see that no matter what, you plug in an x, there's only one possible y you're going to get out of it because we multiply. When you multiply two numbers, there's only one possible answer. And then we add. Same thing, right? Okay, so we're good. So we're like, yes, that's a function. Function. Why is it a function? Because we can see that for every x value, or for everything that's in the input, or for everything that's in the first set, gets matched with only one thing in the second set, or only goes to one output, or only goes to one y value, okay? That one's good. Let's take a look at one that this isn't the case, all right? And we'll do the same thing. We'll just try some x values, see what happens. And it's probably best when you're doing this on your own, if you want to be really sure, go up to 4. Try 4x values. But for us here, we're just going to do a couple. So let's see. Y squared equals x squared plus 1. Let's try this. So x is always our input. It's always our first set or an element in our domain, whichever definition you're using for a function. Okay? So we'll pick, again, pick some values for x. I like 0. 0 is really nice. Oh, did I write this down right? I did not. I'm sorry. I meant to write down y squared equals x plus 1. There we go. So if x equals 0, well, what does that tell me for my y? It tells me, well, actually, it says y squared will equal 0 plus 1. Okay. Then, well, that means y squared equals 1. Oh. Check this out. I'll have to solve for y. I got to take a square root. What do I get? Y is plus or minus 1. Ooh. That means I get 2 points that are true for one x value. In other words, 0, 1 is a solution to this equation. which also means it will be a point on the graph of this. And 0, comma, -1 is also a solution to this. Shoot. 1x is going to 2 different y values. Not okay. That is not a function. So we would say, no way, that is not a function, since one value in our domain, 1x, is being assigned to 2 different y values. Not okay. So we say this is not a function. All right. Now in the next video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about something called the vertical line test. The vertical line test. And it makes a lot of sense. Vertical line test is where we imagine a vertical line going through the graph of our function, and we can decide if something's a function that way if we know what the graph looks like. Why a vertical line? I want you to think about that. Remember, it's for every x value. There's only one y. What do the equations for vertical lines look like? So think about that. Until next time, enjoy doing math.